Okay, guys, let's go over the aspect over the Baltimore Ravens over this offseason. Now, of course, that's been going on since the middle part of the 2022 regular season involving Lamar Jackson over his contractual disputes with the team after putting up all pro performances, but not staying half of healthy for the rest of the season. And it's been going on for the past couple of years because they'd be getting winning playoff records, but then you'll be seeing Tyler Huntley play around week 13. And having a dual threat quarterback comes with the sort of risks over what a pocket passer can consist like Daniel Jones, even though Daniel Jones can conservatively use his legs. So can Josh Allen. But the dual threat nature of being able to escape the pocket and not get touched and that can throw over 40 yards is pretty detrimental. Not saying Lamar Jackson has this type of skill playing, but with the system that Baltimore has, it's kind of revolted around Lamar Jackson to stay for the tenure. And the biggest thing they did over the offseason was finally pay him. It took until April to finally pay Lamar Jackson over the span of several seasons. Now, he's the highest paid quarterback over what was supposedly supposed to be, you know, Jalen Hurts, time to shine, getting paid $255 million, a quarter billion coming to Lamar Jackson. But Demarcus Robinson gets nothing for being the better player. Absolutely no refiguration of his deal, but no, it's gonna be Demarcus. It's gonna be Lamar Jackson. I'm not in. We had this dispute over when Daniel Jones was the premier target, that he shouldn't be given that much money when he's been an exceptional quarterback for the past couple of years with four coaches over since he's been drafted, and since then finally made over the postseason with a consistent win-loss record and better QBR out of his own division. Next to Jalen Hurts, at least being the second best quarterback over in the NFC East when it comes to consistency and completion wise. And if we're looking overall over to the roster, overpaying 1 year $15 million over to Odell Beckham that missed the entire 2022 season after getting injured around the postseason with his last stint with the LA Rams. Demarcus Robinson still on the team, Rashad Bateman still on the team. Then they picked up Nelson Aguilar that had a mid 2 seasons with the New England Patriots, dropping game winners, underperforming even though he did well with the Raiders. And just lack of depth over in the and name value. Like they should have at least compensated to keep that franchise tag for Lamar so they can get somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, that I swear at least half the midseason with the Cardinals doesn't pan out. Even though the Cardinals did pretty exceptional around the draft, and picking up Zay Flowers was a smart move so that they can try to build over in that receiving core. You had that number one hierarchy receiver like DeAndre Hopkins that year after year, even though he got a torn injury, he got a terrible injury in his stint with the Cardinals. He's still one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL. Red zone threats in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is a premier number one receiver out of that team. And with Limberdum, Tyler, Cleveland, Ben, still the premier option is Mark Andrews, without a shadow of a doubt. Tyler Huntley became a Pro Bowler last season. He got in clutch game winners. Still keeping Gus Edwards. Why did I say Edwards? J.K. Dobbins to be that decent 1-2 threat over the interior. And still, getting rid of Marcus. That was at least one of the best moves out of this offseason. Letting his contract expire, knowing that there's nothing that Marcus Peters can actually do on the team. With Stone Geno, still having Marcus Williams and Marlon Humphrey on the team to help over with that secondary, and Kyle Hamilton, you still gotta try to pay up most of your secondary. You could see Ravens are still a defensively focused team, but it's primarily over their backfield and their edge rushing. That's why you're seeing guys like Kasir Kai or Cameron Peterson play over to that edge so they can build over to that defensive front. They weren't that exceptional over on the D line. They've been primarily on skill players, even though they got Avalulu and Gideon Drake. They've been really compensating, trying to get a really good D lines to build around over in the draft, and I feel like that's better than trying to abuse your D line. I mean, abuse your D line or overcompensate in free agency, especially how guys have to go over a new system and outplay. But I don't know if this has been the best offseason for the Baltimore Ravens, especially with the drama they had to get even trying to re-sign Lamar Jackson to stay over in Baltimore, or else he would have been going on a new team that would have been more comfortable for him, like possibly the San Francisco 49ers that actually have receivers to throw to, have one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL, in the number 1 defense from the NFL last year, with a star-studded coach that can make a good offensive scheme. Hell, Lamar doesn't even have to run the ball. That's a positive. But that's just me. Be too optimistic. But besides that, how you guys feel about the Baltimore Ravens' chances? We understand you only got a top 75 until we bump you down to 53, so we can finally get a full roster in hand. So I won't really be predicting, but that's how I'm feeling right now for the offseason for the Ravens. I feel like Odell Beckham does nothing for the Baltimore Ravens. He hasn't proved himself. He hasn't been an all-pro, or at least a consistent receiver since 2016 or 2018. Other than that, he's been fringe, barely a red zone threat, gets garbage time touchdowns. Just the clout and name value alone of Odell Beckham is what still makes him such a premier free agent tag to even still compensate to at least try to get him $35 million for at least a season. Even though this guy can barely stay healthy for at least a quarter or a half. Especially over his stint in Cleveland that was supposed to make the Browns a fringe contender to finally get out of this slump of being the butt end of all the jokes in the NFL. So, you tell me if Odell Beckham could actually live up to the hype for once. That's it for me for the DSD show. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Hopefully you liked the take that I gave here today. And I'm going to take my Tylenol.